Wow. Everybody's talking about Isiah, huh? For this little old unimportant guy, everybody sure like to keep his name in their mouth, don't they? For a guy to be so insignificant, he sure do have a lot of attention on him. I'm not in my feelings at all. I'm actually calm about this. This thing's situated in. Got Squeaky over here. I'm gonna get some WD-40 and straighten those Squeaky out. I'm gonna get some space where I can sit down. Now, let's get into this. I need to lose weight. Don't we all? But I'm probably in better shape than you. So, anyhow, let's get through this so that we can get this over with. So therefore, it never has to be mentioned again. David Falk came out and said some disparaging things in the press, mainly about Isiah Lord Thomas III and Scottie Pippen. Now, you guys are not privy to a lot of knowledge that happened back in the day, as I got to send out notifications to people. Hold on. Now, according to David Falk, David Falk came out and made this statement. First, he talked about Scottie Pippen. Let's get that addressed first. He said, I hope personally, and I'm sure it won't before the document ends, that Jordan, with the eye tests, people could see that he's in a different league and he would average about 50 to 60 points a game, shooting 75% from the field. That's an obvious exaggeration, but okay. Now, he said, Scottie Pippen was jealous, and he's like, if, Michael Jordan made your career, and if you completely made someone's career, even if you thought that LeBron was better, you should probably keep it to yourself. Then he said, Scottie's problem, as the documentary points out in so many different places, that he wasn't a great competitor. There were times for silly reasons, the migraine. You think that Michael Jordan would do that unless his leg was amputated. Scottie didn't play part of that game because he had a headache. Now, that's what he said, but he really wanted to have his back and forth with Isiah. This is who he saved it up for, because that's what he do. The invisible hand is what he's called. So let me enlighten you about a dangerous man named David Falk, the agent that represented Michael Jordan. Because it needs to be said, and this needs to go down. Now, when it came to Isiah Thomas, this is when he really opened up. His level of disdain grew. I want to make sure I'm clear on everything here. He says, I never had a good relationship with Isiah because he really screwed so many people that I'm close to, including Michael Falks, including Michael. That's what he said. He froze him out of the 1985 All-Star game. He traded Adrian Dantley, who's my oldest daughter's godfather, when he was on the Pistons to play with his boy Mark Aguirre. And it's one thing to do it, you know, it's his prerogative as a great player. I went up to him at the All-Star game one year when it was in Chicago in '88, and he comes up to me in the hallway in the hotel and says in his really soft voice, like he sounds like a choir boy, and he says, David, I just want you to know I had nothing to do with AD getting traded. He said, I said, really? Well, let me tell you something, Zeke. If I believe that, I would be the only human being on earth to believe that. And he tells you in this super sincere way that only a classic con man could do, and expects that you're going to believe it. Well, let's go through his statement first. Now, David Falk said he never had a good relationship with Isiah. Why? You know why? It's because Isiah Thomas is smart. Okay? Isiah Thomas is smart. And he didn't need David Falk. Oh, we're going to get there, Lex. Don't worry about that. The next thing he said was that he froze Michael Jordan out of the '85 All-Star game. We've already covered that. Larry Bird's on that team, Dr. J, Moses Malone, and they're going to all agree not to give Michael Jordan the basketball. But this goes to show you how little David Stern knows about basketball. He traded Adrian Dantley, who's my oldest daughter godfather, when he was on the Pistons to play with his boy Mark Aguirre. If that was the case, Adrian Dantley could have been traded the year prior. The truth of the matter was Mark Aguirre and the Dallas Mavericks were having problems. He was having problems. He wasn't happy. He made people's life there miserable when he lost in the Western Conference Finals to the Lakers. Rolando Blackman and him couldn't get along anymore. It wasn't working out. Adrian Dantley is the reason why Adrian Dantley is not in Detroit. He could have clearly been a Detroit Piston. He had a problem with Isiah's leadership, and he had a problem with the fact that he didn't want to share minutes with Dennis Rodman, who was up and coming. Now, as we all know now, we see what Dennis Rodman is. This is why Dennis Rodman needs more playing time. You don't try to hold that back. He didn't want to come out the game. He don't want to. He's the aging veteran who don't want to relinquish that position right now. He still wants his minutes, and he wants his shots. So he made the life very uncomfortable in Detroit. And now let's go to his next statement. Isiah came up to you in the 88 game and said that he didn't get Adrian Dantley traded. Well, that's very interesting because I know that he didn't. And I don't know why would Isiah say that to you in Chicago in 88 when Adrian Dantley was traded in 1989. So he was still on the team in Chicago in 88 at the All-Star game. You know how I know? Because he played in the NBA Finals against the Lakers. So Isiah told you the truth, and you just didn't want to believe it. But I just take that as a mishap. He probably told you in 89 at the All-Star game, and you just got it confused with the 88 All-Star game in Chicago. It happens. Now that we've addressed his statements, let's get into the facts. Fact number one. David Falk hates Isiah Thomas because Isiah Thomas was the El Presidente of the Players Union, the enemy of the agents. He successfully negotiated that the players don't have to pay 15% to the agents. He got that reduced down to what, 10, I think, which infuriated David Falk. He said it was 40%. Well, 40%. Whatever it was, he's mad because Isiah was successfully able to keep him at bay. Isiah got it reduced down to a very low amount. And he didn't like it. So Isiah got the agent thing down to like 15%, and David Falk was livid. Now, David Falk is a great agent. Let me get that straight for everybody to know. He is great at his job, but he don't know a damn thing about basketball. Isiah was smart. That's why he was the president of the Players Union for almost his entire career until he retired in 1994 and gave it up to Buck Williams. And let's see what that slimy bastard did, David Falk. The problem with David Falk is all about greed. The Jewish man, David Falk. He was very good at getting his clients money and pushing for deals. He got Alonzo Mourning the first $100 million deal in the NBA. But let's see what happened. Once Isiah was out and retired, what happened to David Falk? David Falk is accused of starting the lockouts. There were two lockouts within 3 years. The first one was orchestrated, and everybody believed, by David Falk. He caused the whole 1995 lockout. I'm serious. He was one of the key figures in 1995 during that lockout. The players wanted a soft salary cap, while the owners wanted a hard salary cap. And Falk led the rebellion to the point where he tried to decertify the union. He was trying that under Isiah's leadership, but it wasn't going to work with Isiah as president. Now that Isiah's out, here comes an NBA lockout in 1995. He can make his move because Patrick Ewing and a lot of the players, I think he has 16 players that were represented, that was part of the union. They were his agents. His clients. So he got them and, Alonzo Mourning, Reggie, and all those guys to go along with what he was saying, with his ideals, and try to go for a decertification of the union. Yeah. Oh, yeah. He ended up, he's like, LeBron hit me with the 19. Probably. Shoot, this house will drive you crazy. So it wasn't the whole NBA. David Stern turned against him. and said, this guy's trashing his own clients. I remember, what's his name? Kenny Gatterson. He said that, man, this whole thing was manufactured by David Falk. The guys used to initiate, he used to initiate the decertification thing, aren't concerned with the union and the everyday little guy. These guys have been in the league 10, 11 years and have yet to voice an opinion about anything that's going on. Then all of a sudden, David Falk don't like something. Now all of them have something to say. So anyway, the decertification vote was defeated. Falk did not manage to decertify the union. They basically led to a deal that allowed Jordan to make like $33 million a year, and there was no luxury tax on it. And for those 3 years, the owners were just ticked off. They were like extorted to go into this season, which was only going to start a bigger revolt down the road, which happened in the very next 1999, because the invisible hand who negotiated all this stuff and manipulating the union, David Falk, was screwing up the entire NBA. So when you try to run the union and manipulate everything for your position of power and greed, David Stern and the NBA and the rest of the smaller guys, they're going to look at it and say, hey, this guy's not good for business. So the whole lockout was blamed on David Falk. Yet no one brings this up. No one do a 30 for 30 on David Falk and how he manipulated things behind the closed doors. But him speaking out the way he did shows you he knows nothing about basketball. He knows nothing. He's just basically reading what he's been reading off the internet and just regurgitating it out his mouth. He's good at being an agent. That's what he's good at. So the rest of it is all BS crap. He's mad at Isiah Thomas because Isiah cut his money. That's it. So I'm out. Thank you for your time.